My name is Chad Rachman, Staten Island Advanced staff photographer, and welcome aboard the Staten Island Ferry. I feel like shooting in black and white puts more emphasis on the composition. Pictures of the ferry in color are beautiful because the ferry's this bright orange and it's against, a mostly blue sky. And I wanted to take that out, focus more on the composition and the texture and some of the details people might overlook on their daily commute. This is a picture of the whole skyline taken from one of the Kennedy class, the older ferries. When I first thought of shooting the ferry in black and white, the older boats came to mind first. On the 21st of June, I was riding the ferry back to Staten Island from another assignment, and there was a brief afternoon storm on our way over. By the time we reached Staten Island, it was a bright sunny sky again. And this is a ferry bound for Manhattan, just as the storm was clearing. The photo of the people in the waiting room was playing with the bright sunny skies outside and the shadows in the terminal. And I thought that the lines of the new window panes added a bit to the composition. I waited for that moment where the ferry was almost docking in Staten Island so you could catch a glimpse of the people standing on the edge of the boat waiting to get off. That same day, I noticed these three people standing near each other in the waiting room, the construction type worker on the left and the businessman in his suit on the right. And I thought it was great that there was a young person with a skateboard just possibly on his way to Manhattan to hit a skate park or meet up with some friends, and I felt that it represented these different types of ferry riders. The photo with the windows is mostly about the wooden benches of the Kennedy class ferries. And I was looking specifically on the upper deck for someone or a few people sitting in front of the windows, and I wanted to wait for the Statue of Liberty to pass by to get a different view of the statue. We've all seen the pictures of just the statue standing in the harbor, and I wanted to frame it in one of these ferry windows, and the gentleman on the left wearing the baseball cap was perfect. I also went looking for texture on the ferry, and there's nothing better than a good anchor rope or a tow line for one of the lifeboats, and that's what this photo is. We were waiting to get off the boat in Manhattan, and there was a rider just leaning on the side with one hand firmly gripped on the rope, and it was beautiful afternoon light, and that made that picture. The life preservers, you don't see them anymore on the newer boats. They're carefully stowed in marked lockers and bins, and it's my love affair again with the older class ferries. It's one of the details that I miss on the newer boats, with riding the boat back to Staten Island on a late night, and you have straps from all the life preservers hanging down through those wooden slats on the ceiling. The picture of the boat arriving at the Whitehall terminal was on a whim. I was sitting outside waiting for the boat, and as the boat pulled in, it let off this big plume of smoke. And thinking in black and white, I quickly grabbed my camera and made that picture. This is on one of the newer class ferries on either the Molinari or the Marquis. I wanted to photograph this metal bar outside on the newer class of ferries because I kind of think it's a design flaw, and it kind of hinders people going in and out, because you have to swing the door open, then you have to step to the side and close the door before you could walk past it because of this big metal bar. And that day I had a fisheye lens on my camera, and I'm photographing this area with the skyline in the background, and then there's this I believe they were tourists. There's a gentleman and his son who were riding on the edge there, and he was pointing out the different bridges, and he stretched out his arm and, you know, pointed toward the skyline, and that was the moment. The photo of the hand in the water is about the raindrops and the water itself churning up from underneath the ferry. It was the same day as the photo of the outside of the ferry with the afternoon storm. And I was riding next to a bunch of tourists, and there was a little girl who had like a toy pair of binoculars, and I was trying to make a photo of her looking through the window with her binoculars. This is on the Barbary class of boats, where there's no outside observation deck. It's just the big windows that fold open. And I couldn't make a good picture of her and her binoculars, and then her and a bunch of her friends around the same age were all sticking their hands out of the windows to reach the raindrops, and that made a better picture than the binoculars. Last was a lucky catch. This is Stuyvesant High School freshman Christopher Cho sunning himself on the deck of the ferry as he's riding home from school. And this is it's a lucky break to catch someone, you know, doing something like this on the boat. And I was just walking toward that end of the ferry so I could get off quickly, and I noticed him sleeping there, and I didn't disturb him. I quietly, you know, changed lenses on my camera, and I put on this big, super wide lens again so I could see Staten Island in the back on the right and the Verrazano on the left. And after he woke up as we were pulling into the terminal, I said, you know, excuse me, and I work for the Staten Island Advance, and asked him if I can get his name, and he quickly obliged, and we both went our separate ways. I don't see this as the definitive ferry project. It will go on and on every time I ride the ferry.